Hello everyone, today's fanfic review. So for today's fanfic review, this is a story I wanted to do a review on for a while, but then a friend of mine also says I have a review about who goes by the name of Werebrony. So I'm going to be reviewing the story of Milo Caboose, Blue is Magic, by Darkwing. First off, before we begin, this is a crossover between My Little Pony and Red vs. Blue. For those of you who don't know what Red vs. Blue is, it's basically a machinima series made by Versity Productions, based off two teams, red team and blue team, who are constantly fighting each other, but fighting each other in quotation marks, because mostly just stand around and just talk to each other all day. But then eventually some stuff happens that are out of control, and they sort of go with it, and they go a lot of adventures, whatnot. It's a really good series. So it's definitely would be a really good idea to read that or watch that series before you actually read the fanfic itself, like up to season 9, because this takes place right after season 9 of Red vs. Blue. And yes, there's over 9 seasons, and they just started their 12th season of Red vs. Blue not too long ago. So yeah, it's like the longest web series like ever on the internet. So yeah, it's really good. So the little description of the story says, what happens when the Reds and Blues finally get churched out of the Epsilon unit? Caboose decides he wants a turn in the unit, of course. What happens next? Well, let's just say he always did say he wanted a pony. Now he has a world full of them. So that's just a little description. And let's see. And there's about, I counted, and there's about 257 chapters in this story. So yeah, this is definitely something you can't read overnight. It's gonna take you a while. And there's like a little section of the description here saying, like, before asking questions in the comments, please read. The first chapter is the end of the 9th season, like I said, but I put it there just to ease the flow of the story. You will probably be extremely confused if you have not seen the last 2 seasons of Red vs. Blue. Yeah, definitely. You will probably be more confused if you never heard Caboose. Yeah, definitely. And I placed a series of hyphens to show when the story becomes my own work during the prologue. And then he has a little link to the Red vs. Blue series in the description. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. So now I just want to mention a few pointers of the story, like in the beginning, so like some of you are confused or whatever. So yeah, like it said, Caboose goes to an Epsilon unit, which is basically like a memory unit for a church, since, you know, and then he goes to Epsilon unit after they got church out because he wanted a turn, and as you probably tell, he goes to Equestria, and then he befriends the main 6 and a few other ponies at the beginning. And then the characters Church, Tucker, Sarge, Simmons, and Griff soon follow suit into the Epsilon unit with Caboose and Equestria. And then they try to get Caboose out, but it's pretty difficult because he's starting to like it there, and for fewer reasons I won't mention right now. So yeah, they try to bring her back, but then they get noticed by Celeste, and they get teleported by her. And this is a little spoiler, but I guess if you've seen like the thumbnail, you can sort of tell what happens. It's not too hard to figure out that Celeste makes them all into ponies. So yeah, makes them ponies in order to, and she makes them blank flanks in order to have them learn / earn their place in Equestria. So they have to find the cutie marks and see what their special talent is in Equestria. So yeah. And then she also decides to pair them up with the main 6, so they help them like be able to live in Equestria. So yeah, in the story you see that the Sarge goes with Applejack, Caboose goes with Pinkie Pie, Church goes with Twilight, Simmons goes with Rarity, Tucker goes with Rainbow Dash, and finally Griff goes with the Fluttershy. I think after like reading all these like reading the story at least one time, a couple times now, I think of my favorite pairing, which is like, you know, based on friendship and whatnot, is Griff and Fluttershy. I just like seeing them interact with each other in the story. It's really nice. So there's just a few pointers of the story I want to mention that happened at the very beginning, so I'm not going to say any more for the rest of the story, but I just want to point it out. So now I'm going to say some pros and cons. I'm going to start with some pros of the story, where the one main I have for it is the crossover itself. I absolutely love the idea of having Red vs. Blue being crossover with My Little Pony, because I've been a big fan of Red vs. Blue since I've been a fan of Halo, since like 2009. So a little over I've been a fan of both things for about 5 years. You can tell by my t-shirt I like it, and I got like all the DVDs, most of the DVDs, like of Red vs. Blue up to season 10. I got like this best of RVB thing, and yeah, I've also been a big fan of My Little Pony since 2012 for a couple years now. So I was really excited to hear there was a story that was based off the two series. So I fangirled a little bit when I first saw that. Another pro I saw is the humor. Holy crap, a lot of the humor is hilarious. Sometimes I would actually cry tears of joy from like laughing so hard. They'd be really funny. And then there'd be like a bunch of references to both My Little Pony and Red vs. Blue, so it'd be really good there for those who haven't seen yet, to watch this last Red vs. Blue, so you get some of the jokes in it. So, and if you do, it's really funny, especially at one story point. I really laughed my ass off. And also, a pro is some of the drama. It's not always there, but yeah, it's whenever it is, it's very intense, and you can really get into it. And so there's some powerful elements to it. And there's actually some moments I won't say what, but there's actually some very sad moments in the story where I actually cried a few times. It was really sad. And then another pro I had was some of the appearances. So yeah, obviously there was a lot of appearances from both shows, from the main 6 to the Reds and Blues themselves. But then later on, you get some appearances from like background ponies from the show. And I'm not gonna say who, but there may be a person or two from the Red vs. Blue series that makes appearance. So yeah, and I love seeing all of them. And so yeah, I also liked all the parents in the story, like what I mentioned before. And you can sort of tell later on that this adventure turns to a shipping kind of thing. I thought some of these were natural, but some I could actually see happening. Most are based on friendship, not love, with a couple of exceptions. So yeah, and then moving on to cons or con, because I only have one small con in the story. It's obviously the length of the story. I thought it was a little long, or pretty longer than it needed to be. Like at certain points, like in the middle of the story, I thought there was certain story elements or something that I feel like they need to be existed, and I thought this would be fine if they were taken out. So that was only real con I had. So yeah, moving on to my conclusion. Despite the length of the story, I absolutely loved every moment of the story, from the character interactions, the humorous jokes, and the fantastic storytelling that I wouldn't mind reading certain parts again and again and again. It was just that good. This story falls into the categories of romance, tragedy, comedy, random, crossover of course, and adventure. So yeah, if you like those kinds of type of stories, I definitely highly recommend it. Now for my rating of this story, I would give it 6 out of 6 cutie marks. To me, the length of the story doesn't really matter as long as you enjoy the ride the whole way through. So yeah, I definitely enjoy the ride absolutely fantastically. So yeah, and for those who haven't read the story, I highly recommend it. So yeah, that's the end of this fanfic review. So yeah, like I said, you haven't read the story, I highly recommend it. I'll leave a link to the story down below. And and there's any certain fanfics you guys want me to review, make sure to mention it in the comment section below as well. Yeah, that's all I have for you now, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!